Hi everyone, it's Alex from Risk Academy. Today I wanted to share my key takeaways from the FERMA seminar in Malta. And Malta was an amazing place. For the first time ever, I stayed for a week longer than the conference itself. And I had a wonderful opportunity, thanks to a good friend of mine, Paul Camilleri, to see all the places and the temples and the churches in Malta and visit some of the islands as well. It was amazing, but let me get back on track with the conference. I was very fortunate to host a round table on risk management in small and medium enterprises. So thank you very much, FERMA, the organizers, for giving me that opportunity. Now, what was wonderful in that experience, what was wonderful in hosting that round table for risk management in SME, is that we, the organizers, originally thought about sharing what big businesses should expect or how they should treat small and medium enterprise contractors and partners, and how they should sort of help build the risk management culture in those organizations. But by a complete coincidence, which was amazing, it turned out that all of the, I think, 5 or 6 people that were sitting at my round table were the employees or the heads of small and medium enterprises. So we actually just talked about what does that mean, managing risks, if you are a small or medium-sized company. Now, medium size is not that small, so we all understand. But still, what does it feel like? What's important? And amazing thing that happened is that I think we are heads of risk of large corporations have a lot to learn from small and medium enterprises. And the 3 key takeaway lessons were, and this is really great. I mean, it turned my mind. The first thing that came up is that in small and medium enterprises, organizations, employees, senior managers, they simply cannot afford to do just on the paper-based classical risk management, traditional risk assessments. They literally have no spare time, because they have such small margins, because they have such high objectives, because it's a matter of survival every day for them. They simply cannot afford to do most of the things that big businesses do when it comes to risk management. So the first lesson that I learned from small and medium enterprises, and I think this is something that we can all use in our day-to-day lives, is that whatever risk management you do, it has to generate revenue, or it has to have an immediate reduction in costs. It has to have a very direct financial impact. Otherwise, the companies simply do not have the time. They simply cannot afford, they don't have enough fat in their balance sheet to afford wasting time on just talking about risks, theoretical messages that better managing risks help you achieve better objectives, or they increases the probability of achieving objectives. This is all rubbish for small and medium enterprises. Unless you can indicate a very direct and immediate saving from doing an activity, and risk management being that activity, then it is simply not going to be done. And this is, I think, something that large corporations can learn from small and medium-sized businesses. We as risk managers really need to have an honest look at what we are doing. Are our activities bringing money into the company by either creating new revenue streams or saving some existing costs? Unless a risk manager can have a very direct indication of a cost saving or revenue generated, which is 10 times bigger than his department's salary, then he's probably not doing a very good job. So this was the first lesson for me, and this was really big. Risk management should make business sense. It should generate value, just as the principle 1 in ISO 31000 says. Unless you can show very direct benefit, very direct cost saving or revenue generation benefit from risk management, shouldn't probably be doing it in the first place. So this was lesson number 1. Second lesson that we talked about, which was also amazing. If small and medium-sized businesses are going to pay attention to risks and do it systematically, try and analyze risks. They cannot afford to do it as a standalone process. It has to be an integral part of something bigger. It has to be integrated into the way business operates. So risk analysis, risk assessments should not be done for the risk analysis, risk assessment's sake. It should not be done as a separate standalone activity. It should be done as part of the normal planning process, as part of the normal budgeting process, as part of the normal procurement process, as part of the normal M&A merger or some sort of other business process. And this is the second lesson, which I think is a big one, is that if you are going to do risk analysis, if you are going to spend time doing risk management, it should be an integral part of something bigger, something that the business is doing already, not something new. It's not like you are going to gather people together and have a risk management meeting. It should be you already were going to have a budgeting meeting, but during that budgeting meeting you should be able to discuss risks as well. And the final big lesson that stood out from the roundtable discussion was that risk management heavily depends on human attitudes, on human on personnel culture, on risk culture in the organization. And the sort of the harsh reality is that it's not going to happen by itself. Managing risks, it's pretty much against human nature. So whenever the organization is moving on the path of taking risk management seriously and using risk analysis to make better business decisions, they have to invest in building the culture. The good news is reinforcing risk management culture within any type of organization is not that difficult. It's just making sure it makes business sense, it's an integral part of core business processes, and somebody in the organization is knowledgeable enough to just steer the employees in the right direction. So this is my quick feedback on the FERMA conference. I really enjoyed the session we had. I wish there was more time for the roundtable discussions. I also wish there would be more activities for the risk management only people, so we don't have to interact with some of the other people in the audience. And I also wish that for the first time ever, I think, the risk managers sort of left the bubble, the bubble of comfort that they live in, and heard from somebody in the business who hasn't been probed by the risk manager beforehand, who hasn't been prepared, whose speech hasn't been written. I wish we could, for the first time ever, hear from a board member or a CFO or a CEO or a head of legal or a legal director who would probably give you a slightly different message than you would expect, who would probably say that risk management has a long way to integrate into how business operates, who would probably say they don't want risk managers per se, they want everybody in the organization start putting the risk hat on from time to time. I wish we would stop sort of gathering as just risk managers so we all tell each other how good we are and how wonderful our work is. It was a bit weird listening to some of the proposals generated by the attendees in the conference. I will probably have another video on some of the most ridiculous things that I heard at the FERMA conference, but the reality is, and this goes for any conference out there, stop just inviting risk professionals or sports people, motivational speakers for that matter. Invite real business people who will tell you what the reality is, and most of the people will not, most of the risk managers would not like the reality. But I think it's about time we sort of get grounded a little bit to how what we do really helps or does not help the business in day-to-day life. So sorry a little bit for this quite a long video. Clearly there was a lot of emotions left after the FERMA conference. It was a nice event. I really enjoyed Malta. I will be coming back there from time to time in the near future, and I'll see you again in the other videos. And you can subscribe to the Risk Academy channel on YouTube if you want to see more videos like that. Thank you and goodbye.